I think it's probably 20 camera crew, I don't know, maybe 15 camera crews, a couple of helicopters, but enormous endeavor. Mike Sears really put together that logistical plan, still a good friend of mine. And so it was just enormous, but we'd also seen the enormity of the French production, which was very like Paris-Dakar, Tour de France. The big difference was that once you get the number of camera crews and logistics that you have available to you, if you've got to do more, it comes back to the parachute regiment thing, doing stuff without enough resources. But the important thing is the point of view that your intention is. So that's what I've always had, at least, as a clear point of view, you know, and, you know, it's, I think I'm a generalist, not a specialist. You know, I don't want to know how the lens works and how the edit machine actually works. I'm interested in what the result of the image on the camera and the mixture of that with sound and dialogue and the outcome, not how it happens. Make sure it's my job to not even understand how the cameras even get to the production. If I've got to worry about that, I'm crazy. I'm interested in the casting and the point of view that comes across through the screen.
It would seem there were obviously inherent dangers when you're shooting a show about with an adventure theme.
Eco Challenge has massive dangers, and however, there was a whole point of it. If it wasn't a thing that potentially someone could have got killed doing, or at very least be on their knees crying, and it was really like a military operation, which I wasn't scared of. You know, I will tell you something, which was, the race was starting on, I believe, Tuesday, April 25th. I don't have a calendar to check, but I'm pretty sure that on the preceding Thursday, which would have been about the 20th of April, that we didn't have permits. I had 1,000 people in Utah. I'd convinced Dateline, and Brian, both of us, had convinced Dateline NBC to be there to cover it. We'd convinced Good Morning America to cover it live by satellite. MTV to be the broadcaster. Journalists from People Magazine, Outside Magazine, you name, I mean, enormous. 50 teams, their families, support crews, 50 vehicles, 200 bikes, 50 river rafts, national park needed, 0 permits. And I remember Mike Sears saying to me, the guy who was going to direct the television, and my friend came looking for me, and he was told I was sleeping on Thursday night. And he said, how can he be asleep? We have no permits. Who could sleep in this situation? And I said, Mark can. Because he's, you know, and that's very my personality, that I felt, okay, swung for the fences, struck out, huge disaster. I guess I'll go back to England. You know, what else can I do? You know, I'll take my young children and my wife and go back to England. What else can I do? I'm here. When I'm in a situation that I didn't intend to be in, who knew that we wouldn't have permits? Because we had permits and then we were sued by an environmental group, which is very funny, being Eco Challenge and how eco-friendly we've always been. But, you know, that's what I've learned. Things don't always add up and people have their own political intentions. But it had gone to a hearing at the equivalent of the Supreme Court of the Bureau of Land Management in Washington, D.C. And the answer would come down on that Friday, I think. Race starts Tuesday. And it turned out we got the permits. But I was literally there with all those people, all that happening, everything on the line for me. I mean, I can't remember, I think probably my house mortgage. I mean, you name it, everything on the line. And what a sigh of relief when I said go and the race started live on Good Morning America. Dateline were filming, MTV were filming, Mike Sears was doing the directing of the story, telling, and we pulled it off. And was amazing. But the through line of that really, either you're doing it or you're not doing it. You know, if you're a person who needs to be sure and have 100% of things lined up, logistically, financially, common sense, before you take a step, you will go nowhere. You have to jump in. You have to be about half sure and believe that you'll figure out the other half on the way. Every TV production I've ever done has had not enough money and not enough time. So if I actually was like a worrywart, I wouldn't have done any of them. I've made huge mistakes, you know. I mean, I tell my people who make mistakes, you know what? I'd rather you make a mistake than just be so safe you do nothing.